Same thing is, if the woman tells a man, give the third person money, which is the husband, and I'll marry him. So the Kodesh Din Shnei, the Rambam says, it's not the middle person as Mekadesher, because he's a messenger of the man too. No. The husband, when he receives the money, he says, with the pleasure that I received because of your words, the pleasure that I decided to receive and to do your will, so then I'm marrying you. And those 2 points, the Rashbo attacks. The Rash doesn't like that. He says, "Tamed by him." It's a big wonder. Because why the Rambam changed from the simple case of Evet Knaini? Evet Knaini, other people give the master money. They are the ones that do the kinyan. They are the ones who do everything for the sake of the slaves. Even about kocha. So here too, when somebody gives a woman money to marry Ploini, he's doing everything. That should be the case, like Hashi. Eyes missing, mice and Amir, shluchoy. Why the Rambam says that the husband is the one who marries her, as if like it's not similar to the Knaini. The Knaini is out of it. Yes. Number 2, he says, also 10 money Ploini. Now marry him, we didn't share him. The Rambam says, I'm a Kaddish would I know that I received with your will. I received money because of your will. That's the honor I'm giving you. He says, first of all, it's not really giving her anything. It's nosnoi vomaru. And B, the only way to be nosanu and vomaru, as a topic on Choshu works. So the Magin Mish, they answer the Rashbo, Kash against the Rambam. Says the Rambam is easier for him to say that the husband is the Kaddish, not a Shliach, because I don't have to come on to Shlichus. Why they going to speak about it? Because you don't need. I mean, everybody knows that the husband has to be the Kaddish. But yet, so really, the Rambam is saying, you're right, could be that the middle guy is Mekadesh. Again, they're talking about Evet Knaini. Evet Knaini is a guy comes, gives a woman money, says, marry Ploini. So he could Mekadesh, the Rambam says, but then I have to make him a Shliach. I don't have to come on and say it. If the husband speaks, upon that Maises, he should be Kodeshes. And what does he say? So what? But the Magna says, but still, the Rashba is right. Why? Because the Rashba has a problem with the Rambam. Why is Mekadesh with the Ano? So he wants to explain what really is the kash of the Magna. So he says that first of all, you have to know that Evet Knaini is not teaching us that you don't need in the scene of a Baal, in the Din Kesef, I don't need Choser. It's not that I learned from Evet Knaini in Din Mais Kinyan Kesef, I don't need Choser. In Kinyan Kesef, I don't need Sin of Kinyan Kiddush, I don't need Sin of Sabah. No? I don't need, you don't say. Right? Right? Say that's a pshat. Vada, he says. Vada, you need the sin, you need Choser. She's the Choser and sin of somebody else, as you understand. Choshu Avur. Avur about. Even in Rashbo asked in Rashi, because it's also Kvoisel, etc. So you have Gilui. Once you have a Gilui, and he wants it, so we can say that the mice of the middle guys, Misyachis to him. That's really the Rashbo's cash against the Rambam. And he says he learned this from his Rebbe's words, and we see in the laws of Malvet and Ribis, that if somebody lends money, a goy lends money, b'shlichus Yisrael, there's a Jew, and he wants to give it to another person, but he doesn't give it himself. A goy gives it to him. So then, and it's the goyish money, because The Jew never got it back, never picked it up. So, but a goy borrowed money from a Jew. The goy never paid it back. He just brought it in front of the Jew, and another Jew asked for it. She says, "Give it to him." So there's no shlichus by goy. And the goy is giving his own money because he never really closed the loan, the first loan. The first loan's still open, so the money still belongs to the goy. Then he gives it to the second Jew. We say that the mice of giving of the goy to the second Jew makes as if the second Jew borrowed money from the first Jew, even though there's no connection, but he got money from a goy for the sake of the first Jew, and as if the second Jew borrowed money, it was a complete alvora from the first Jew. Or to the level, there's a din ribis on it, etc. So we see from that there's a din moment is ba'alma that will be is considered halois din milva there, which means I'm taking the side that I need choser and I need nesina, and it's considered a complete nesina to the level of alvora that it was alone here. Or din alvo, halois din alvo, result of a loan. That's to that level that what I receive from the middle guy is as if the other guy, Ploini, the husband, really gave me the money, mamash. Chalosh din milv. Okay, this is the result. So now, once we decided that I need choser, I need an esina, as he proved from his Rebbe's words, I wrote to myself a kasha on this. You want to hear the kasha? People want to hear the kasha and the Birkas Shmuel. No, I have a kasha. So here, דהים זה דין כלולים כמדוע הרמב"ם לא יפוסק דין עבד כנעני במומי. לצורך עיון, הרי זה דין כלולי לגרח. That's my kasha. Kasha is, if he decided there's a din bedin a moment is ba'alma, so why did the Rambam asking that Eved Knaini and Midin Shneim works also by moment? If it's a din, he says it's Lala Misha, it's only din limud between Eved Knaini and Isha, okay. But if it's not a din kloli, it's not important, it's a general rule. So the kasha comes back. Why the Rambam didn't pass in this halacha of Eved Knaini moments? You have to say like the Prisha maybe. Yeah.
The Rambam does all these. Remember that piece from the grid we had there?
No, I don't remember.
The last page of the Sugi Park.
I don't have the paper, but show me.
Rabbi Yitzhak.
Tavim in the letters.
Rabbi Yitzhak.
רב שלמה, יש אפשרות לקבל ברכת השמואל בעברית? לא
לא.
אי אפשר?
כן. לימדתי אותך, אתה יודע?
כן, לא, אני יודע, אבל הצד שלי כאן טרנסלייט. כאן לתרגם את זה בצ'אט כביתי, אני לא יכול להשתפר בשירות.
He doesn't explain why the Rabbim write this in the Knayim Shalom just as a fact. But to say that he holds maybe like the Prisha, that it does exist in other Purush, in other, even though the Rabbim quoted, it exists somehow. That's what you have to say.
Say the favorite palette. If you said the Rambam, it's not like the Bechashmuel. But he says, that's a Rambam עם עצם הכסף שלא דבנה נור בלבד. No, the עצם הכסף is king. not עצם הכסף, עצם הכסף, לא נור בלבד. מכסף והנור. You need to call me the case and you probably don't know, but here is a different thing. I think it's from that quality is cost.
I don't see. Other people did speak about it. Right? Who was it? Ahmed Fine. Who was the one that spoke about it? What? No, this is the papers of Orev. I thought you have the papers of Eretz Knayim. No. Okay, first of all, he just quotes as a fact. It doesn't explain the problem why they haven't mentioned it. It's a time. It doesn't explain that. The other papers. In the papers of Eretz Knayim, there we had people spoke about why the Rambam didn't quote this halacha in Eretz Knayim in moment. And actually, they want to say that it's not in the moment. Okay, that we have to explain. Next paragraph.
See that it's full of already been and it's not.
And I know, and he says it didn't call it, and he says it didn't call in Milve. So the Choyo, you have the papers of Eretz Knayim? You have the papers of Eretz Knayim? Eretz Knayim, not orange. Yes, Eretz Knayim. Maybe Eretz Knayim there. We saw there's a big deal, a big thing about if this din also exists in Mominus. Let's see.
You have the brand, it seems.
We got a Ram that says it's only here as a tzorichi in the Ram. He says, "Because Ram apay bilchos mesira, all Rabot Hamu leponim v'iknei basic and אולי ידעתי למה לא יקוסף גם כן מדיני בית כנעני. מישהו שם הסויבר הוא דווקא קידושי. אין כנעני משום דאבל וישה כדוד אלינו. כלומר לא מאישה. B'yan momo in emedim b'knaini, aval ein ze b'chulu v'tzorchim. So first of all, we have a ram that says it's not by Kiddushin, it's against the whole malach of the Chaim. Then you have a case of Mishnah here that says, the Shema Soiver, v'temesi, eich olo al bedaito shel Aran lo yimar, the Shema Soiver Rabbeinu davka b'Kiddushin. V'yam momen emedim b'knaini, dachtu Rabbeinu amoyru, the livluk al Rav, the Oma v'chein amoyru, v'chein, לא צריך לומר רבינו אבגוריס, או דום הרוב, וכן ילמומו ינסום מוחלטן לא יבז קלה שנכון כל מדינה עורף. תאמין רוב אמרו מדינרו, ולא אמרו מדינרו, יקרן נפש שלה ומטעם לכוס אברהם. Okay, so we have a case of Mishnah and the Ram that's it. The Rambam is saying is only by Kiddushi, not by Momen. I'm going on the Drisha. The Drisha says he found the Rambam. What? So he says Mamon only goes on Momen. That's the gist of the Rambam. This is a case of Mishnah, and we have the Ram. 1 second. It's against a Chaim. I learned that the din of the Rambam of Knaini and Orev also goes on Milveh. It's a din clearly, the moment is Baalman. Yes. Then the Drisha brings down, he has a kashi on the Ran and Bes Yosef. Why does the Rambam didn't write this law by Ebed Knaini by Momo? That's not true. He found a Rambam that does say by Momo where it says if somebody is makne kli to the seller in order that the buyer will buy it, the buyer is zoiche, even though the buyer didn't mizake the vessel, or even though he gave the vessel in order to give back. Again, you have a guy gave a vessel, chalipim, to the seller, Amanas will give it back, and he says, sell it to the buyer. It's a bit knaini mamash. So he wants to leave it to doiche. It says aches of davka. That means really the person himself. Nikis, matamas lachas, it works. That's not true. The Bes Yosef brought this Rambam. Bes Yosef himself learned that without acher is makne the kalila moiche amanas lachas for the sake of the loyker. He wants to make a chiluk that somebody else giving a kli is really giving money. He's giving the kli for the sake of the buyer. The goof of the kinyan, I'm talking about here is the drisha. But the goof of the kinyan, no isan alokech la moiche. Somebody else gives. The evidence zoiche, Nasha doesn't give anything. He wants to say that the buyer gave money to the seller, just the kinyan halip in the kli, somebody else gave me the vet knaini. So there's different. Because the whole, yes. Because the whole, he says, wherever Knaini, the third party gives the whole money to the master. Here, the buyer, the Eved, the buyer gives money to the seller. Gives money to the seller. Just the Maisa Kenyan, the Khalif and the Maisa Kenyan, somebody else gives. So it's not really about Knaini. It's only Medina with Knaini, that's how it works. There's no really Raya from it. This is what the Drisha. So the Drisha basically puts the same line with the Ran and the Bes Yosef. There's no such Rambam in Momoin of Medina with Knaini. And we have Avnei Nezer. No, that's all. I don't see who answers that. Okay. I don't see somebody else arguing. So this is Chaim Alevi Tzorich. Okay? No problem. Okay, we have to solve that. This is your paper. Take it back if you want it. Okay, so I'm reading now the second paragraph on the left column. באשר על כן, ישלח כהן בביאור מה דעתו נוסנו, I'm reading the second paragraph on the left column. באשר על כן, Reb Shlomo, you want to join us? What? Good. באשר על כן, ישלח. בביאור מה דעתו נוסנו דין נסינה עבור הבעל מדין אמת קנאי. Which it is, on the left column, the first page, page 12. Left column, the second paragraph from the top. ואשר על כן ישלח. בביאו מה דעתו לנוס מדין נסינה עבור הבעל, מדין וקנאי, אם הוא בגוף הכסף. על ידי נסינות של אחרים, גוף הכסף. So I will try that. I didn't try to read it without translating. Start from the beginning. ואשר על כן, therefore, once we decided that I do need a chosef from the husband, and I do need the sin of the Baal, but I have it, somebody else does it ba'avur Baal for the sake of the Baal. So he says, if that's true, now we have a chakir. There is to investigate. Biu, an explanation, in this law, that the Torah made a giving for the sake of the husband. Medina with Kanaim from the law of Cain. What's our hakir? If ubegufa kesef, the giving of somebody else is considered giving of the husband. What is the giving of the body of the money? Giving of others. Gufa kesef, the body of the money. Choshing the sin of is considered giving from the husband. The kinyan, it's in the body of the money itself. That's one side. The explanation of the law and the decree of the Torah of Evet Kanani, that I consider the giving for the sake of the husband. Leing and reference the subject of Sheyeshdin Anor, that there is a law of pleasure here. Shebola Kesef, which pleasure she had, that she received money mikoich from his power. So the fact I received money from his power, he gave me pleasure. That's what he gave me. The money somebody else gave me. But because he was the one that caused, or for his sake, the money was being given, so she gets pleasure from it. That's a pleasure she got. In that money, the pleasure of it came from him. This is the law of the giving reference to king. Which means the Torah considered the law of others giving, laying in reference, that the pleasure of the giving, which pleasure? That she had money that came to her from the husband's, for the husband's sake. That's pleasure she got from him. This what is the law of the lacking, the giving. That I want to transfer to the husband. The law guva kesef, not the body of the money. The body of the money is not what I the middle guy, lost money, and there's a chison by me, and a giving by me. That's not what I'm transferring. The body of the money and the body of the lacking, that I don't consider that I gave for the sake of the husband. I gave that as a matona for the sake of my sekinyan. But what I'm transferring to the husband is as if the husband gave the pleasure, which means because when I receive money, I get pleasure from it. The Choser Nesina is not coming from the Choser Nesina of the Gufa Kesef. Rather, the Choser Nesina is an no that comes from the Kesef. Very simple.
Sense.
What does that make sense? What?
Because I know is one thing on the money, and it was two different concepts, different things. Two different.
No.
Not it. I understand it. It's not the answer. It's only like a deep cost of the team. That makes sense. That's a customer of the plan. It makes it that not the answer, but it's only team. See the cancer.
You see that Kesef what? No.
Of what?
I no pleasure that she got that she received money because of it. Kemoy, why pushing pleasure? Kemoy, listen why. וכמוני שלעניין אורן, סמוי בי אורן, שניס שנוס נתורי קבולס אחי. לקבולס כסף ליד האישו, חוק הראשונים, סמוי בי אורן. The Torah said that others received, that the woman received, what she received. חוק הראשונים הביאו רדינים בעצם הכסף, she received the essence of the money. Shekibalach and other somebody else received it. The Kabbalah. Or Biuradin, who the explanation of this law of Orei, that is only the Masha Kibalach. That upon her mouth somebody else received and enjoyed. Avaz Kabbalah Sano Shelamatne Shelamatone Areisha is the Kabbalah of the pleasure of the gift. Without pleasure, only Shabbat. והרעש בקוסר על דין אורב, על דין אורב, לעניין תן מונה לפלוי נפגע שלי לכו. The Rash himself learned that Oreb is a nano, kloimar. The Rash, he quotes the Rash's language. Kloimar. The husband goes back and he tells her, he's scotchly marry me, but I know zu with pleasure. I'm giving this third guy a gift because of your words. I'm producing pleasure and I'm marrying without pleasure. We had a kasha. What if to come into pleasure? What about the money itself? Right? There's no Orev is not the money itself; it's the pleasure. So also here, the Orev Nami, why it's similar to Orev. With the pleasure of listening to him is mishtab. Also here by Kiddush is the no. So since we see by Orev, I don't need the guf hamomoin. So that's the limud. The limud from Orev, I don't need the guf hamomoin. Also here by Kiddushin, I'm not mekadosh with guf hamomoin. I'm mekadosh with the no. I'm machne frei. אם חוסרי ביסין שחוסר שהוא מחלק צריך שוינים בזה. אם הקידוש בגוף המומו ינתר שהוא זו שזה כמובן עשה אישו. Is it the kiddush into the body of the money by Orev? The Torah considers this as if the woman received the guf hamomo. The fact, what somebody else receives upon her command, upon her orders, that she should receive the guf of the moment. That's one shita. And he brings the other Rishonim. Shakim Ubarno, the acquisition is by pleasure. You and Shah. Ken Yeshlach. He says the same way there is to investigate. Also, in the law, does the Torah consider the body of the giving, the essence of the giving of others? So we talk about whatever others gave the woman as if the husband gave that. He gave what? When she got the money itself. Although I don't transfer to what they gave is the goof of what the body of what they gave the husband gave. No. The lo yichshiva goof nesinas acherim shenasun avur haba. The Torah didn't consider the money itself for the sake of the husband, because the money itself somebody owns it and he gave it his own ownership. He didn't acquire the money itself for me, for the husband. The Achein didn't acquire the money to the Sheven and there the Shliach. No, they're not doing that. The only makne in the Sina. So he says maybe. The Torah is not machshiv the money itself. And the Yeshiva Torah considers the Sina Sa'achim Avu Abal others giving for the sake of the husband, reference to the pleasure of the giving. You receive pleasure because of me. Shuavur Abba is for the sake of the husband. Al-Yidei Shebiglaloi, sins that he, because of him. But he wasn't the one that he pushed the guy to give. The guy gave for him, so it's considered Biglalo because of me. He gave because of me money to you without me asking. So it's considered because of me. Because of him, because of the husband, it was a giving. Aves and a semen abal is considered a gift from the husband, but what I consider a gift from the husband? That the pleasure of the gift came in abal from the husband. He doesn't say why I should say that. But he says, since we see by Olav that somebody showed him learn that the pleasure is the one that I transfer and not the goof of the scene. We saw the Giris you brought me as both. Is the goof only on and it's only the observation of Machlefai. Because the other says there's no Machlefai. We learned here, we learned there, we said no Machlefai. Could be each one talks about something else. We didn't find a reason. I found why I can say the goof of money. But why the ano? We say maybe the ano is not enough to consider as if he gave ano. What was the svara? What blemish we had with that? I don't remember. What?
You have to come to the question.
Okay.
Where you cut over? That's something for
So we answered, it's not a no, the Shimon's Kop answered, it's not a no, there's Mechayev Kesef HaChoizer. Why? Because you cannot tovah it. So that's why I have to come on to the group of the money. Or we need Gzeras HaKoser, that's such a no works. Good. So why talk about that? No, talk about the move of the money.
We learn from this.
Maybe it would say that the term doesn't want to mechadish so much that the giving of somebody else, that money is of King Tara. Could say that, like say shlichus. Those are all the money like shlichus. But those who say no is only that no, because they say he wasn't a shliach. He didn't meant to be a shliach. Just listen to her words. So it's really just giving her pleasure of listening to her. The arguing how to define what happened in Oreg. What's the Mechayev? Not that I can, it's not possible to learn the other way. This is what is the Pshat in Oreg. That's how they learn. Pshat no the also here in the Knaini. Well, how they learn, how they learn from somebody else gives money to the master. To release the Eved, what happened here? As if the Eved gave the money? Or the Eved was mistoiv of the Ano of the Kabbalah, was mistoiv through him to release it. As if the Eved gave the Ano.
It's just like a way,
Right, but it's easier. It's easier to say since somebody gave his own money. So the money that he gave, he didn't make to you as a shlichus. So therefore, I don't say that it's seen as gufa kesef is what really what I gave, because he's not makne to the Eved. Elamai, okay, I don't know. Yes, a hakira. I don't see what should force us to say that is the ano and not the matona. Very clear. But the next paragraph he explains that the Rashba the problem is other the Knaini, the simplicity is my all of Yaakov Hakira. By Emet Knaini, since it's Baal Koch of the Eved, he says simply is the money itself, it's not the ano. So he has a card, he says that was the kasha of the Rashba against the Rambam. Why the Rambam jumped to ano? By Emet Knaini is not Shaykh ano. So, but he says the same Hakira by Ore we have Emet Knaini. Then he goes on the next one. We're going to see the next paragraph in a second. He says, but the Rashba says, it's not Shaykh no by Emet Knaini. He doesn't give it answer. Then what? But why? What pushed him? So the only story he can say that since the Rambam understood that since by Kiddushin in Ano, And the Gemara made a dinion to Kiddushin, must be that Chazal learned that that's Pshat and it's K'nai. It's the Amor part. Let's see. I'm reading out the third paragraph. V'hine Aramba, Kosa. For example, the husband that she's marrying to him. He returned and he went and he said, V'oma, and he said to her, you Mekudesh me with the pleasure. Aboloch Bigoy that came to you because of me. The Rashba has a kasha. Midoch Kolose, who pushed the Rambam to look for shit? The Farish explained that Kiddushin was the Anoasa Matona. The Kiddushin is through the pleasure of the gift. This is not like Eved Maini Mamash. Why? The Vadai also surely there by Eved Knaini. The acquisition is from the giving of others to the master to release the slave, and the giving is the body of the money. It's not from the pleasure of gift. Came to the hand of the Knaini. Surely there by Eved Knaini Mamash. You cannot consider I cannot consider there the sinam in Eved Atzmo a gift from the slave himself. Though by Eved Kanani Baal Kocha, by Eved Kanani can release it by force. So you can't say somebody else is giving his giving. Yes, this is small. Ela Kocha, rather by definition. And the Sina, so it's not considered the Eved gave. The Eved didn't give. It's against his rules. He can't say that the Acheim are really shluchim of the husband. Can't be shluchim. Because why they cannot be shluchim? Because it's against the Eved's will. It must be that the gift and the lacking and the missing is from others. The body of the money. It's their act. It's not the slave. It's not a message of the slave. They're doing it. If they're doing it, the law of Orev according to the Rambam to the pleasure shemagia lo the guvakesa that comes to her. Pleasure that comes to her through the body of the money.
So maybe it does have the mechanism. You said you have to remove that part.
He says, by Orev, I can say, when the Orev gives the money away because of the woman, I can say that the woman received the pleasure came from the money because it's one unit. But by Ulam, by Din Eved Knaini, by definition, Eved Knaini is for the sake of the money. The Torah Yeshiva and the Sinas Acherim, the Torah considered other people giving Lenesina for a gift Avur Abal. Because it's not a shlichus of the Baal, that I'm doing it for the sake of the Baal means the money's being given to the Baal and I'm a messenger of the Baal, like by Orev. By Orev, I can say, I'm giving the money because of the woman, it's as if she got the money and I'm a kaddish with a pleasure. Because the money itself came to her, it's not Baal Kocho, it's Ba'at Sivuyo, so she got the money itself and she also has a pleasure from it. So the Kiddush is on the pleasure, not the money. But by the Knaini, it's not Mamish the Kesef. It's not the Kesef of the Achim, is not the Kesef of the woman, of the Eved. So what is it? Once again, so it's not shlichus. That's what he's saying. Well, it's only for the sake. No. Ulam din evet kanani b'chol avur kesef ater yichshit b'serim v'sin avur abal. It's avur for. No, it's not shlichus. Not shlichus. But not shlichus that he's makna the gufa kesef. Let's read it again. Let's read it again. I'm reading third line, the third paragraph. To explain that the Kiddush is through the pleasure of the gift. Mamash. If you say the Ano is not similar to Evet Knaim, the Vadai also surely there by Evet Knaim. The acquisition is from the law of others giving the body of the money. The master is releasing the slave because he received money or he could receive pleasure. The master that received money from others, Yoshua. Rabbi Yoshua. Yoshua. There's other Yoshua here. Yoshua. When the master receives money from others, he's releasing on the slave because he received money or because he received pleasure. Money. That's just the Vadai also Makinyan Medina Sinas Agim Guva Kesef. The kinyan of the master releasing the slave is because others gave money. Guva Kesef. Veloy Medina Nasa Nasina. It's not the pleasure of a maton, of a gift. Shebo law that came to her means to her by a woman, by a master. Here by Evet Knaini is the master. Miyad Evet Knaini from the hands of the Evet Knaini. It's not that the Evet Knaini somehow relates the pleasure of the gift. Surely there, who's there? By Evet Knaini. I cannot consider Nesidim in Evet Atzmoy, that the Evet himself gave. Evet Knaini is by Baal Kocho. It's against his will. It's not really giving money itself that he can say the pleasure is being attached to that. El Al Kocho by definition. The giving and the lack is of others. It's not from the husband because they are the messenger of the husband. As others, they are doing the nesina, they are doing the chosed. Venimtza comes out. We didn't finish. Venimtza comes out. The din or there are no through pleasure shemagia lo the gubakesa has been attached that comes to her through the body of the money. That you can be attached by Orel because he's giving away the money. So I say that giving away as if giving away to her to listen to her and is attached to the pleasure. Ulam dimen knaini bal kocho uavura kesef. Evet knaini is as if the Eved, or here in the case of the husband, is for the sake of the money. The Torah considered the sinas acherim, others giving, the nesina above for the giving of the sake of the Baal. So since they consider the sinner forsaken, you can't say that I transfer that no because there's no real money. That's the point. Does not know because no real money being given.
He's saying transfer chosser and this that does transfer.
Finally, the kinyan under the master release a slave is migufa kesef and not anos maton. Why? He explains why. Because I cannot say a real giving. A real giving. A real giving. No, you say I know it doesn't say. You can't say you jump from Anor to direct and you train direct means Anor. No. Direct means the giving. The Rebbe is not giving direct money because they are not the shlichim. They're giving their own money. They're not marketing the money to the slave. It's against his will. They're not marketing it to him. It's only their money that will relate to the Rebbe. So if I want to relate to the Rebbe, I only can relate the goof of the giving. I cannot relate at all. if I can relate the goof of the giving, like by Orevs, I also can attach to it Ano. And I say, she's not Mekudeshes with the giving of the goof, she's Mekudeshes with Ano, because there's a goof and Ano. So then it's okay. But by Evet Kanaini, I don't have a sina from the Evet to the master. It was against his will. So then I'm making the money to him. I only can say, when I give somebody else the money upon your words, as if I'm making it to you, and I flick it back to your messenger. You can have a flip, right? By every can flip, and since you can flip and I gave you the money, so much you got pleasure. And the flipping is on the pleasure, not on the goof. But I also flip the goof. But by every canine, I cannot flip the goof. It's only because it's about kocho. It's only whatever I did and my action and my money, I relate to him. So I can only relate from my money to him. He did the Gova Kesef. I cannot relate to him. I'm not disattached to the money. That's what he said. Beninza. The outer dino level in the he can flip the money, so it's attached to it. Din Evet Kanaini Balkoch Avura Kesef. Evet Kanaini is only for this. I transfer for the sake of the money. And now I don't know why. The Yeshiva and the Sinas HaCheim, the Torah consider them others giving, and it's their giving, and it's their money. The Torah is Machshiv, and the Sin Avura for the sake of the husband. So in Ken, who pushed the Rambam to say that we talk about with the pleasure of the giving? Why didn't explain the Mekayel? Because I'm just transferring. It's not his giving. I'm just saying it's for her. So for her is the body of the money itself, and not the pleasure for her. But Kanaini, the master released a slave because of Gufa Kesef. And that mice of Gufa Kesef, that's created the kingdom, Gufa Kesef, that I transferred them, Ba'avur them, Ba'avur of the Eved, Ba'avur of the woman, Ba'avur of the husband. He says, the Raj bring up a problem why you jump from the Acher into the husband. It's better to say without a shliach. אלא דהוק שלו היה דבן כאשר לומדס. דהור לפרש דבר בעצמו, ונשגד שבגוף המתונה. האחרים, למה שנסעני מקל גוף מתונה? Because it's not a מייסה ואחרים, it's בעבור האחרים. It's בעבור הבעל. בעבור הבעל is what they did. They don't have a problem to free the slave, and after, by Kiddushin, nobody's okay. When I transfer, I know. But what they did definitely money. They gave Gufa Kesef to free the slave. The master that frees the slave is not looking on that pleasure of the money, looking at the money. So since that's their maisa, and whatever their maisa I want to remove for the sake of the husband. So the simplicity I remove the goof and not the pleasure. Okay, we'll stop here. This is really the kasha. Then he says, and if you do say pleasure, it doesn't fit by midin shneim. That's the next part.
You have to find that difference between the Rambam, Guf Hamon Be'isha, and Guf Hamon Be'Israel. How is the Rambam going to let the rest?
The Rambam is going to learn that by Orev, I have Guf Hamon and pleasure.
Oh.
Because I'm like a Meshliach, like the Rashbam said, I'm a Shliach of the husband. So by Orev, when Orev gives money, when the Loive gives money because of the Orev, as if he flips his makler the kesef to the Orev, and you also have pleasure. And he's not mekayel of the money itself with the pleasure. Okay, I can understand. But by Evet Kanaini, they're not flipping the money. Because Val Kocho, they're only flipping their maise to the husband, Bavu. Their maise, they're definitely giving the husband, the master, they're giving him money, not giving pleasures. That's the focus. They do my sekinim kesef l'shacher ha'evet. It's not a nose. It's Gufa kesef. And that mice of Ruba Kesef, they want to transfer to the Avur. So why the Rambam jumped into Ano? That's his problem. And then base has a problem that even if we do say Ano, doesn't fit by Medin Shneim, and the next round will explain the Kasha. Yes, what do you want to say, Rabbi Gavriel?
Igupa, the evidence doesn't need that. Therefore, for she needs that. That needs that.
One second. The Evan doesn't need das, but the Evan needs to be free. So you have to do a Maisa for him to free. Maisa Kinyan for him. So you have a Maisa Kinyan. So she said she wants it Mekadosh. She said, I want to give money to Ploini or Mekadosh Lo, or she received the money. She says, I want to be Mekadosh. She said she wants. The question is, where's the mice of the husband? So we learned from the Kanaini, there's a mice of the husband. What's mice? On the goof or no? She says, by all of you can say both. Either way. But by the Kanaini, it's not as mice because they're not knocking in the money. It's their money. It's their mice. It's just ba'avu. So if I only transfer the goof of the money and not the no, why the Rambam jumped it on? That's really the problem of the Rambam. What?
So free. It's a school. That you know, and the woman is not sure that she wants to get married. That's like so to say that the goof of honor is very the goof of honor, even if she agree, it's going too far away. So maybe we need the annoyance.
Maybe
I don't know what you said. That's not interesting what you said. Yeah. What?
I don't like the list of Kesef is Bano. Kesef is Bano. Really, it's like a little family. You have money, it really goes together or not. Really. I say, no, because it's like.
No, when you can mischaber by Orev. If somebody gives money, as if he's makne to me, and he's my shliach, so then makne the guva kesef, he can mischaber ano to it. And you can say the ano is the main and not the kesef. But when the mice is their mice, they definitely gave money to the master. Oh, you don't get ano, it's ba'avur you. Ba'avur you is the mice, it's not ano. Ba'avur you for the sake of it's not ano. It's something's done for me, is ano. It's not ano, it's for me. Whatever it's done, it's for me, it's best. It's a strong cash. Everybody when you say no ano. Forget about what's done for you, because they listen to you, or they want big lolech, is ano, is ano. Yes.
No, I just want to say.
Yes.
It's not true. So you're saying Balcorpo, he says, because of Balcorpo, we're saying that it's good honor. But also it's excuse to be free.
True.
So why we see just Balcorpo, good honor? No, it's also because it's excuse. Excuse is Balcorpo, and that's
First of all, schuz machlokes, not schuz gomer.
Oh.
Not schuz gomer, we say because he loses truma, he loses shifra knainis. That's machlokes ramen chachom. It's schuz gomer.
So, take them back to bring down these stories and work our crops. Take them back to sit.
Knaini can be released by alcohol.
But if the woman is not a student,
What?
if the woman is not a spouse to get married,
According to the Rashi, okay.
so who says even when she's agreeing?
I don't know her. I don't know from her side, but from his side is schuz. It's not necessarily a schuz. For her, maybe it's a schuz. Not for him. It's about him. Him. He needs to do a maise. Then it's schuz for him. It's not a schuz for him.
So who say that the moment, for a moment, because so far away, it's
Okay.
for a moment.
Every Knaini works. Once his megal is das and he wants it. At the moment you don't know, but he has to give a gilu, a shlichus, according to Rashi. But according to Rashi and Rambam, it's enough gilu. It's enough. You don't need shlichus, enough gilu. Once he's megal, you know that he wants. So now that he wants, what do I transfer? I transfer the maise? I transfer the no. He says, by the Knaini, since he's not mezaka the gufa money. He just does avur. So avur is only the kesef, no. When you come on down, it's not attached to it. Because it's not their maisa. You want to transfer their maisa. Their maisa is only gufa kesef. In reality, you have anor, but it's not their maisa. So if I transfer their maisa, whatever they did, it's only guf. No, that's the kasha. That's what I was kasha. Yes, you're Yechezkel.
The Rambam say that we don't need the physical momo, the physical money, and they say in Ilchot Ishlut, בדף 5.22, שהם לא צריכים את הגוף המומו. We don't need the money himself. As because that they say with the pleasure I get married you.
Right.
Because the money is not from the
True. True, Yechezkel, right. But we want to know, where is it here? Right, if it's Knaini, where is the pleasure? I don't need a goof, and it's not pleasure, but where is it? How do we receive a pleasure? If somebody else gave money to the woman, and he wasn't acquiring that money to the husband as a messenger of his. He gave his own money in his own act, just he wants to relate the act to him. So you only can relate the act itself, not the pleasure. That's a problem. That's a problem. Okay. Api Hanania ben Akasha, Meotza Kishbor, Lezak, Yisrael, Fikir, Temishimar, Novetzamati, Koi. Toiro ve'adi. No nizkanesh me'yavo. Amen.